Hi everyone, welcome to our next video from the Agotapop's lovely sort of sweet treats page, I guess it is, it's sort of what I'm calling it. It's really sunny in here today, and I don't know if my camera is overcompensating. It looks very dark in my on the screen, but it's very hard to tell. Anyway, I hope it's okay. I might be able to brighten it in processing, maybe, if I can get my head around my editing software. Now, we've been using a different set of pencils for each picture on this page. I've got my Arrtx ones to use today, so that'll be a bit of fun. And while I just select my first colour, I'm just going to remind you that this page is available for download. You can get a 10% discount using my code, which is in the description. This is the orange one. I'm deciding to do a sort of citrusy lollipop, I call it. I'm not sure what you call these. Popsicle, maybe? Don't know. So these bigger sections here and here and here I'm going to do with my orange. Now I'm thinking that this lollipop would be a sort of, might be slightly see-through, so I'm actually going to just put down a really dark layer of colour, quite thick. I can press quite hard on my paper. It depends what your paper's like, whether you can do that. These pencils are quite soft, so they're not going to necessarily damage your paper, but I'm also going to just layer and layer a little bit, just to get, what I want to do is I want to put some shine on this when I finish in a white pen, and sometimes that can look more impressive if you've got quite a thick layer of colour. You could even do this with like a water-based marker or an oil or alcohol marker, you know, really thick. Not on this paper. This paper hates pen, wet. It's not designed for wet medium at all. As I've said before, I'm going to try some different papers, because as much as I like this Bristol board, it doesn't work very well with polychromos. I find they slide a little bit on the surface, which is strange because I would have expected a pencil like this one, which is a softer pencil, to do that, but actually it goes down really well, so it's strange. But I like my polychromos, as well, you know, if you've watched many of my videos or been watching my channel for a while. They were like my second pencils, so they're, you know, I know how to use them, I'm very familiar with the colours, etc. So I really want a paper that I can use them on. So I've got a few on my wish list actually, and I'm just thinking about what to buy at the minute. I'm not really quite sure. Actually, if you've got any recommendations, now bear in mind it needs to fit in a UK printer. My printer can take a 250 GSM paper, so thick, but it has to be A4. It can't take a American size letter, whatever you call it. Sorry, it sounds very rude. I don't know what you call it. I'm looking for a lemony yellow. I've got this light yellow. I think that might work. I'm going to do orange, lemon and lime. Why not? I'm going to put the lemon in the smaller spaces. I'm going to give it a little bit of a sharpen. So yeah, the letter size paper doesn't work in my printer, so I have to have a UK A4 and the Strathmore paper, which I think looks amazing. All the pieces I found on Amazon's either didn't say what size they were, which was a bit of a worry, or weren't, or were letter. I could go to my art shop up the road and ask them, which probably would be a good idea. And they probably want a multimedia paper really, and then I could use pens on it as well as pencils, but I don't know whether, because I predominantly use pencil, whether a pencil paper would be better. So it's a bit of a dilemma really. So quite fancy, thinking way ahead, that Johanna Basford's Advent calendar is really lovely fun to do in December, and I did it on video 3 years ago now, 3 Christmases ago, and I had great fun, but I thought I might do it again. But if I did it on toned paper, it would look a bit different, and I could do like snow and things like that with the coloured background already there. I just thought it might be a bit of fun, like, you know, the snowman, I actually colour him in white if I use a coloured paper and things like that. It'd be quite a challenge, because I have done a little bit of colouring on black paper, and it's really tricky because it doesn't, it's, well, it sounds stupid, it doesn't behave like white. You know, when you put your colours down, you have to be careful. If you use a dark colour, it just doesn't show up. So you have to pick all your lighter shades, which maybe like this yellow, I probably wouldn't naturally go for on a white paper because I might think it wouldn't show up. Luckily this is because I'm plastering it on effectively. Now this lolly, this one, has got these circles. Now I've decided that I'm going to do those in white, so I'm not going to worry about not colouring over them, but what I want is a lime green. I think that one might be the best. This is the apple, or would the spring green be better? Maybe, I think maybe the spring green would be better. About, oops, I just put it back in the wrong place. All my pencils are getting themselves upset. About, that's the true green. No, I don't want that. This is the problem with this set, is you can't see what you're doing. There we go, spring green. One of my, I don't know what's going on. One of my pencils has just decided it's not going to sit nicely. It's just going to stick out. I don't know why. It's on the opposite side to this green. So yes, spring green. Still getting my head around this box. I actually wrote to Arrtx because I left them some feedback. Might have been on their Facebook, I can't remember. Just saying, you know, the pencils seem really good. I've only had one major breakage so far. I hadn't at the time, so I could say I hadn't. But, you know, it is what it is. Happens with all sets to me anyway. Maybe I'm just unlucky. I don't know. Anyway, well, not with all sets, not with really hard pencils, but with the softer ones. So I was able to say, you know, I haven't had any major breakages. I was quite impressed with them, but I didn't really like the box. I like a tin, but it's very personal. You might love the box, but you know, once you've started using it up, you can't see it, and it's really fiddly trying to get it out. So I think that's what happened. That's why that one's sticking out, because I sort of plunged my hand in to try and get this one out, because it's a bit shorter than some of the others, and I sort of dislodged a few of them. So we're still just plastering our colour down really hard at the minute, not doing anything too impressive. We are going to, we might have a play with a little effect in a minute, just for fun. There's a great tutorial in Jennifer Zimmerman's book for lollies like this, and she does one in purple, sort of a pinky purple and a bluey purple. That's just lush. And she does a little bit where she shows you how to do the stick showing through here, and I'm going to try and do that. It might look really awful, so I would wait and see whether what I do works before you try and copy it. I'm just trying to get a slightly darker yellow. I'm thinking maybe the canary yellow might work. So this is the canary yellow. It's very hard to see. And what I'm going to do is think about where that stick would just come up a little bit here and here. I'm just going to mark it in, a sort of shadow from it, as if you're sort of looking through the lolly and you can just see it. I don't know, you might not want to do that, that's fine. Now the stick I'm going to do, now normally I would think these would be white, but I'm going to do it in as if it's wood, just because it's easier to see on the white paper. So I've grabbed this beige, it's quite pale, and I'm going to use that as a sort of initial little bit of colour. But it's, as I say, it's really pale. You could leave it like that if you want it mega pale, but I'm actually going to find a slightly darker brown. Let's see, what have we got? I'm thinking, yeah, the light umber, I need to sharpen it, might work. I have a think. I think I could get it to work. Yeah. So what I'm going to do with my light umber is to put a little bit on each edge and just gently draw it in just a tad, and hopefully it can make the stick look just a little bit more rounded, and it'll just stand out a little bit more from that white because it's quite a pale colour. But I'm not pushing mega hard. I don't want it to look really dark. I can just go over it just a little bit. There we go. I'm just going to brush that. I find this paper creates a lot of pencil dust, more so than other papers and books that I use. That's okay. Now we have our ribbon left, and I'm trying to think. I quite fancy doing a red. I don't know why. Sort of maybe a pinkish red. Let's have a look at what we've got. We've got magenta and rose red and carmine red, or we've got the sort of crimsons and the more orangey reds. I did say pinky red, but actually I think I'm going to go for this crimson. It's a really lush red, rich, I mean by lush, nice. I'm going to start by putting a light layer of red over the whole ribbon. Sorry, I'm nudging. Make sure you're still slightly central. So just a light layer over the whole thing, just to get us going really. And it helps me look, so I'm thinking, what have we got going on here? Obviously got a knot, we've got bows. This make me think about, oops, going massively out the lines. I won't worry about that at the moment. Doing the ribbony part. And then this one. Now, I did want to say to you, I've just thought of it, hence the now. I do have a selection of colouring pages from Agotapop, and there's, I'm just going to erase this bit here where I went wrong. It's not going to erase fully, it's okay. I've got this candies set, so there's this one, there's another page of candies and a sort of wreath of candies. I'm going to do this ribbon first, this bit. So I'm just going to do it quite dark here, fade it towards the centre like that, and then do it dark from the tip upwards. But I also have a floral set, and I think I'm not going to do the other candy pages now. After this series, I've got 4 more left on this page. I will complete the page, but I'm not going to complete the other pages yet. So I want to do something in Rooms of Wonder next, and then I will move on to her floral page. So if you want to purchase that, have a look at it in advance, you can, or you may have it already, that sort of thing. And the floral page has more pages to it, which is nice. They're all tinies, whereas on this one you get these 2 sheets of tinies, and then you also get you get a sort of wreath, so a sort of full page one, whereas with the florals you just get sheets of tinies, but there's lots of them, and they're not quite as small as this, so they might actually go for videos, longer videos than these, so I might pop them in the afternoons, where at the minute I'm sort of putting my longer videos in the afternoons. Out the lines again. So you can hopefully see what I was doing, but I can talk you through this one. I'm just going to do this knot, and I'm thinking it would probably be dark at the bottom, and there might be a little bit more shadow, and then maybe a tiny dark bit at the top, but mainly sort of a light bit. I like to make the ribbons look like they're sort of silky and shiny. I think it's fun. Right. makes it look more, look a bit different, you know. So this one, what I'm doing, like I did on that one, a really dark area underneath that line, and then in there where we've got a sort of dented in bit really, and then this is the inside of the ribbon, and then from here we just take it up a little bit, so we're starting dark near the center here and taking it up, and then a little bit across this side here. I can't believe how bright the sunshine is. It was this morning too when I went out, but it was so cold. I walked along the canal and the grass was white with frost. It was just beautiful. Problem is, people coming towards me, I couldn't see them. So I always say hello to everybody I see along there. I said hello, but I thought, goodness, I might know you. I've got no idea. I can't see you. So with our ribbon, we could add a little bit of darker colour in to really emphasise those darker areas. I'm going to do that in a few areas. In the areas where I think there would be really deep shadow. So I'm going to grab this pencil. This is called Crimson Lake. You can see it's quite a dark, so I think it's going to work for shadowy areas. I want it quite sharp. Yeah, it's better. And I'm just going to use it in two of the areas on each side, so just a tad, whoops, here, and here. I don't want too much, so I'm going quite gently, but here we're looking quite deep inside an area that will be quite shadowy, so I'm going to put a bit more there, just fade it down a little bit. You don't have to do this little extra bit, it's up to you. And then I'm just thinking maybe we'll just pop a little bit right along the edge of that knot, as if it's casting a bit of a shadow. It's quite difficult actually. I'm finding I haven't got much tooth left in my paper to really add many more layers. You might be better off with your paper. Okay, so now we're going to use our white. I've got a Posca here to use. So I'm going to do these dots with white, but I also want to do some shine. I'm going to do my shine first because I think it will be easier. So there, just around like that. And on this side we could actually make a sort of whole section of shine if we want to, like that. A bit more around there. It looks mega shiny. And then we can do these dots as well. I thought it was easier to do the shine first. It's sort of up to you really, which way you do it. There we go. So we've got quite a shiny looking lolly. So I think we are done on that one. Come back tomorrow for the next one. It looks really yum. Look at it. I'm going to use some different pencils as I have been doing, so that'll be fun. And yeah, I think I've got enough sets for each day. I definitely have. Anyway, thank you for watching. Have a really lovely day and happy colouring.